So, okay, so SmackDown was as average as I can put it. As an emotional as I could say it, it was an emotional farewell match for the New Day. And to see Daniel Bryan back on the Thunderdome, because last time you saw him, he was in a match involving Drew Gulak, and he was obviously with Brie Bella with a baby, so he had to be gone for a bit. And of course, the interaction that he had with Seth Rollins was pretty entertaining. There's rarely any negative spots you can give to it. There's the negatives WWE took it out, but there's like a lack of a semblance of star power. Even the legitimacy of having past top guys get overshadowed by more like brighting feuds like Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. It just felt like a reluctant like overpass. Like Braun Strowman wasn't even like considered a major favorite because of course the selling point was Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. I don't think it's anybody else's concern except my own. But the match was average as I can put it. We opened up with Jeff Hardy versus Lars Sullivan, and there was no factor other than this was his final match on SmackDown, I guess, because Jeff was drafted to Raw. And we had some shoulder tackle. We had a slam over to the apron. It ends off an over the shoulder slam after he no-sold a move after Jeff was attempting to go for a Swanton Bomb. The match was fine as you can put it up to be. I thought it was boring. That's the only semblance of the name other than getting Lars Sullivan, reference to Freak, or Triple H would say Super Freak. Yeah, we opened up with a Stephanie in Triple H segment, and then after the notion that Triple H was demoted and he was primarily focusing on NXT, he's still the COO of the WWE, so he went over most of the card. He had to call Lars Sullivan a super freak. Yes, he is for being in a gay porno. Other than that, there's no freak thing about him. I'm shocked that he's still hired in the company over the semblance of mental issues this guy has. You will. You will get over. You will get over. Lars Sullivan just thinking in the back of his head. Other than that's practically it. We had rarely any other women stuff, and I don't really concern myself with that. But Lacey Evans and Naomi are literally gone on Raw. So is uh, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss because of the Bray Wyatt thing. And the positive is there's more bright spots for Bianca Belair and Zelina Vega to pause up. The only positive I have is Bianca Belair. Yes, she does have her faults, but other than that, she's coming off with huge momentum. I like her look. She has charisma. I like how they're implementing like super athlete woman in in all of this. And she's the only one that displays at least some semblance of charisma. Other than the four horsewomen in a Hell in a Cell match. It's personal. They don't establish themselves. I hate that. It's like they establish themselves as having good matches on NXT and that's it. Bianca Belair is actually showing more as well. She's advertising. I liked her Nike looking like her Nike Gatorade like commercial, just to promo herself. And if we had more of that to issue stars, you know how many positives I would be talking about in this in more SmackDown or more WWE shows in general. We had, of course, the New Day having their farewell match because Big E stuck on SmackDown with Cesaro, Sheamus, and Shinsuke Nakamura. So it's technically a reunion with the Bar. And just the most generic promo you have ever heard in your life. Like Nakamura should never be doing a promo. I would rather have Asuka spewing Japanese to me for 20 minutes. Yeah, and then, let's just get into the match. I'm not just because Nakamura just feels like he's gonna take a small tiny shit as soon as he continues saying a sentence. God, it was so corny. But other than that, the match ends off at the midnight hour. There was some moves I hate. Oh, I have problems with Kofi Kingston's wrestling. Like, he used to do the slap, he used to do the boom drop. Like, he used to be fun watching him wrestle. Now it feels like, why are these guys trying to kill each other? He's doing, like, free-falling moves just for guys to catch him. And sometimes he lands flat on his back. Like, people take it like you don't watch Crown Jewel. and then he comes around doing dumb double stomps while the guy is standing. We had the morning wood. I'm not saying morning wood. I said it. God damn it. And of course, we had the midnight hour for the finish. We had some European uppercuts. Of course, they kept teasing over the fact they were like, "Oh my god, that of course they're not going to lose. It's a farewell match." It was an average match at best, decent enough to at least finish off the New Day. Ends with everyone crying over the ring. Of course, a nice farewell for both of these guys. I hate the New Day, in my opinion. It's just particularly my opinion. They ruin the legitimacy of the World Championship and the Tag Team titles. And they made everything super PG. Over the factoid of not even making themselves evolve as characters over the symbols of it. That's just my opinion of it. I'm not particularly that upset that the New Day broke up. I'm not 5 years old. Or a man thinking that he's 5 years old. But other than that, it was a decent promo. A good send off for these guys. We also had a segment in, the new day. No, it was Otis pushing around Sami Zayn after Sami Zayn. Just think there's winners and then there's Otis's in the world after getting interviewed and bringing up that Tucker is drafted to Raw. That's about it. He was like, "Oh my god, he pushed me! Police! Police!" Intercontinental champion, everybody. The man that doesn't even want to fight back after a fat dude that looks retarded pushed him. I apologize for using the R word, but literally, he acts like a slow guy. He says Tucky. We had Daniel Bryan returning to SmackDown after a couple months of absence. Then Rollins comes up, recruiting him to join his cause and to make SmackDown great again. Of course, he calls it stupid like everybody else calls it stupid. Because, of course, if we want SmackDown to get back to decent ratings, it's called release everybody below Seth Rollins' weight. And it was a pretty interesting exchange with, like, it's not. No, it's not. Then he started hitting him. They start brawling. Rollins brings up a chair. And then Rey Mysterio and Dominic comes by. And as soon as Rollins literally socked Daniel Bryan, he tried to ask him for help. Daniel Bryan left him alone. And then Murphy came out. Obviously, not for assisting Rollins after the exchange they had on Raw. And then he ended up walloping on on Rollins. Murphy tried to handshake the guy he literally been beating the shit out of for the last several months. And getting and messing around with the daughter and sister of the Mysterios. So, this is going to be more of a breathing point. I'm not that concerned about the feud. Why continue a feud on the next brand? I always feel like that's dumb. But if you want to continue the storyline, I understand because it doesn't have a complete conclusion. But why not just keep them on Raw at this point? Because all you are is now a change of scenery. And when I mean a change of scenery, it's just blue now. Next up, the Street Profits face off against Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler in a tag team title match. And it went up as quick as humanly possible, man. I mean, I'm trying to be concerned. Like, they had their promo. They said we want to smoke. They have no semblance of connection. And yes, there needs to be a crowd there. They have lack of charisma. And they've had months to actually produce themselves a character other than the impromptu we want to smoke chants that are literally audio done because the Thunderdome can't have real voices. We had Ric Flair in attendance in the Thunderdome, and it ended up with the hot tag off Angelo Dawkins. We had some dumb drop kicks, slow rest holds, and then we had, of course, the Montez Ford senton, and then we had, of course, the frog splash. It was quick. It ended in DQ somehow. It was a quick match after the double crossbody was enough to stop it. It was just dumb. And they're going to continue this off because the Street Profits just became SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And it's been a while since Rude been on television. So I guess they're trying to continue this off. I don't care. They're going to have some crappy back and forths. Probably some property is going to be broken up. And they have no. And all four of these guys have no semblance of a character. Robert Roode shouldn't even be part of a tag team anymore at this point of his career. And we have, of course, the Banks and Bayley contract signing. That was as average as you can make a generic WWE promo sound. That came over her helping her, Bayley getting helped by Banks by majority of her title reigns, and using her to keep the women's championship. And you've been 200, and you've held the title for like what 300 something days. And Bayley trying to still feel nonchalant and charismatic, even though she has a lack of being likable anywhere. And I understand that's her thing to stay heel, but I'd rather see Chris Jericho 2002 being world champion. You know how mediocre he was in his first world title reign. But it ended up with Bayley not signing the contract, walking away, even though she has the upper hand with a freaking steel chair. And we have a Hell in a Cell match. We literally have 3 Hell in a Cell matches, and only one of them is actually for a legitimate story. You don't have to make Sasha Banks and Bayley a Hell in a Cell match. You could have made it a 3 stages of Hell match. You could have made it a no holds barred match or street fight. Something else. You don't have to treat such an important thing like Hell in a Cell, the selling point of your show, a gimmick. Nobody wants to see Cruiserweight's Elimination Chamber match, and if you do, you watch too much New Japan. So, that's just a average contract signing. Shockingly, didn't end up with a lot of violence as it did. We ended up with the main event: Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. For Braun Strowman to regain the Universal title after losing it back at Payback against The Fiend, where it was primarily Roman Reigns scavenging through the corpses because they imploded the ring. So the match ended with some hits over to the barricades. We started immediately with a spear. No, I think it was immediately with a Superman punch for a near fall. Power slam for a near fall. It was basic as you can do it if Roman Reigns was a babyface. Recovered a long slide over, a choke slam for a near fall. Braun Strowman was getting up to the upper hand until it ended off a literal sleeper hold for wow, a guillotine choke for Roman Reigns to pick up the win. A UFC type move for the win. So Roman Reigns, like, you never hear about him winning off submission. It ends with Jey Uso and literally some cool ass shit with Roman Reigns asking him to hit his own cousin with a chair. Him demonstrating what he can do to Jey Uso. He got Superman punched with the chair in his face. Like, it was so freaking awesome. And what a selling point to what's going to happen, like, next week. So that's going to be a crazy match. I can't wait to actually see an exciting main event level match. Tell a basic story. And it gets me actually pumped to see Jey Uso. And the selling point is to see Jey Uso succeed. But we know Roman Reigns is probably going to, like, embarrass the shit out of Jey Uso. And it's just going to make a compelling standpoint to actually watch what looks to be well built, well structured. It makes Roman Reigns look good. It makes Jey Uso look good. That's what it takes to actually make top guys. And WWE's been missing them. That's why a majority of their casual viewers are not watching, or some of the actual wrestling fans don't watch WWE that often because they don't know how to sell legitimate stars and actually make their shows feel real. It and Jey Uso and Roman Reigns is interesting in that standpoint. Bayley and Sasha could have ended a couple months back. No one, like, at least start making a competent story involving Murphy Rollins, now Daniel Bryan, and the Mysterios. Like, we're actually having competent stuff to wait for, instead of like one mediocre lower card storyline. And Raw technically has nothing in the moment except now they have to deal with Retribution. That's technically it. So, if you guys enjoyed the SmackDown review, I thought it was like a 5, like an average 5 out of 10 if I was going to, give it an average rating. I thought it was mediocre. I mean, like average, like an average show with an average main event. We had a cool collision involving uh, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. We had a funny interaction with Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins, and the reunion with the New Day. Even though I hate them, it's these guys been there for like a minute, 6 years, and they have a lot of notable stuff with the company. So that's also important. So other than that, the show was pretty okay on that standpoint. Now we need to get it to above average, and that takes like signing guys, like signing actual top guys, because SmackDown technically got nothing except the guys I just named in the show. So hopefully we find ideas how to get Karrion Kross here, so we can actually get top guys. Do something with NXT talent, because I thought like NXT guys were going to get drafted to Raw, or else you would make them as a particular third brand if they can't go to the other brands. You make them compete in the Survivor Series. Add continuity, please, God. But yeah, that's my opinion. This was an average Friday Night SmackDown. If you like the rest, subscribe, like, comment, primarily subscribe. Help my channel grow. Still waiting to get to that 30 point so I can continue doing this with no pay. That's it for me.